I know is in 17, after they shipped me off to fight, some New York financier rolled in here one day and hog-glousered and tub-wankled my grandfather into mining the whole place out in exchange for shares in something called the United Coke Company. Do you know what those stock certificates are worth today? Just about the finest outhouse wallpaper you've ever seen.
I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun.
Listen to Pavarotti.
Can I be your superhero?
Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I'm your host, Pavarotti, and I'm here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. And hope everybody's having a wonderful holiday weekend. Yesterday afternoon, wife and I hit the lake again, and I tell you what, she caught, it had to be almost 20 pounds, the ugliest catfish, big pregnant flathead catfish I've ever seen, but I've never seen a smile on somebody reeling that thing in, so it was awesome. So I hope y'all are having an excellent holiday weekend as well. And remembering all the people who have given up their lives, so we have the rights that we have that we need to continue to grab onto and hold on to. So today I've got something special for everyone. I'm calling this one Investigation Saturday. It is storming out here, so I have some time, and I've been going through things like I do every day, but I've been hitting them really hard this morning because there are some things when you're trying to figure out what really happened in this case. There's things that inhibit you from really digging in and putting the fine details into things. And I call them red flags. And whenever I see red flags start to wave in the wind, well, it makes me pay just a little bit closer attention. And since we did have a lot of information that was leaked due to that Dateline episode, I've been diving in really deep on a certain aspect of this. And it's something that I've been working on for a long time. Those of you that have followed me know that. Because in the end, it was always my suspicion that the K-Bar knife sheath that was found in the King Road residence was actually Brian Kohberger's. And it was my suspicion that somebody had obtained Brian Kohberger's K-Bar knife due to Brian Kohberger's association with people over there in Moscow who were dealing. And I believe firmly, and I always will, that Kohberger was using illegal stimulants. I mean, during his time in Moscow, and he met the wrong people, and they took advantage of him. And I've gone through what we called the piggyback. That was actually A.R. Hayes' term on that, where I contemplated that at some point they could have obtained Brian Kohberger's knife through a, transaction of sorts, because that happens a lot of times in that world. But I don't believe for one second that was ever Kohberger's DNA on the knife sheath, even if they did obtain his knife. I mean, I believe that DNA, that they made that DNA. But being able to put all that together has always been very difficult because there's always pieces missing. And what I want to talk about in this first part, I got you 3 videos I'm going to be bringing out to you today because I'm putting them together as I'm investigating this. But this first video is red flag number 1. And I know a lot of you out there watched the Dateline episode. Some of you didn't. So for some of you, this might be some new information. For those of you that did watch it, I'm wondering if you caught what I caught in the beginning. Because something doesn't add up. And when things don't add up, you can bet it is a red flag. And it's not adding up for a reason. So when we go to the story that we've all been told, and you know how I feel about this case. I mean, I feel like absolutely those youngsters were in that house, not all on their own accord. I believe it was recommended for them all to be in that house. I believe it was a type, not an actual safe house. People freak out when I say that, but I believe it was a type of a location where they wanted them all together where they could keep an eye on them. and for reasons. That's always been my thoughts, and I have not wavered from that. But the red flags that I'm going to start showing you that are waving right in our face, starting in this episode, are associations. Now, we've all been told since the beginning that the two lifelong best friends, I mean, heck, the G family adopted Maddie practically, they said. But they'd been best friends, as we're going to learn, since the 6th grade. Inseparable. I mean, grew up together, spent every ounce of time together. They were inseparable, to the point to where they went to the same school, lived in the same house, and even Kaylee went back that weekend to show Maddie her new vehicle. That's how inseparable they were. Best friends. I mean, practically lived at each other's houses. And then when I watched this Dateline episode, it just doesn't make any sense to me when they get to the relationship between Maddie and the young lady named Ashlin, who we were told never lived in the King Road residence. She signed a lease, but never actually lived there. Now, we've all been told that all along. And when they describe their relationship, they don't really mention much about Kaylee, and the relationship that they describe is between Maddie and Ashlin. And they go as far as to actually give the backstory of them growing up together in Coeur d'Alene, practically being sisters. And they even go as far as saying Ashlin was supposed to be coming back to be with Maddie that night at the King Road residence, but something happened and she had to watch, some children for her mom. So when I listened to all that, I went, well, wait a minute, this doesn't sound correct. Well, then if this is true, and we'll listen to a quick clip of that. In fact, let's go ahead and do that.
Her daughter Ashlin was Maddie's best friend. The young women grew up together in Coeur d'Alene, about an hour and a half north of Moscow. Both attended the University of Idaho and were roommates in that big 6-bedroom house just a block from campus at 1122 King Road.
They had coffee together, they did yoga together, they walked to class together. So when the girls would get bored in Moscow, they would come and stay with us. And my husband, it's like, oh no, the sorority girls are coming this weekend, better watch out.
Those sorority girls included 21-year-old Kaylee Gonsalves and 20-year-old Xana Kernodle.
Now, when I hear that, and I think about, all the other things that we've been told up until this point, that, Kaylee and Maddie grew up and were part of each other's family in Coeur d'Alene, and now we hear that Maddie and Ashlin grew up and were part of each other's family in Coeur d'Alene. Well, then if everything is true, then that would mean that Ashlin and Kaylee would be very familiar with each other as well. And the G's would have known Ashlin since she was little, growing up in Coeur d'Alene. I don't see any other conclusion you could come to, because we know that, Maddie and Kaylee were together since the 6th grade. Listen.
Up them so much. Kaylee literally just like, ah, and Maddie holding the sign like, just run.
From Forrest Gump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just run. And I'm like, it was one of the little photo booth pictures, and we just had so many good memories there, and that was,
When did they first bond as little girls?
Immediately they were in sixth grade, and it was immediate. Kaylee came, and that was a new school.
So, inseparable since the first day of school in the 6th grade. So how is it, if Kaylee and Maddie were inseparable since first day of school in the 6th grade, they practically lived with each other, and Ashlin and Maddie have been together as inseparable best friends, growing up together in Coeur d'Alene, the same place that Kaylee grew up. How is it that Ashlin is not as well known to the G family as Maddie is. Because as you listen to further interviews, it almost suggests that the G's may have heard of Ashlin before the atrocity, but didn't spend any time with her until after the atrocity, like at fundraisers and things. Very strange.
Wild story. I mean, that girl's story, Ashlin was supposed to spend the night there. It's just so upsetting to think what happened. Why didn't she?
I don't know the details on Ashlin. I definitely know Ashlin. I've met and hung out with her. We've done fundraisers together, and her mother. So, yeah, I know that she spent. She used to be a roommate there. So I'm a little surprised at how that night, but I'm not surprised that she would be over there and hanging out with the girls at all.
Now, see, Dateline exposed that she used to be a roommate there. And then you just heard Mr. G confirm that she used to be a roommate there. But we were told that she was never really a roommate, that she had signed the lease and never actually moved in. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So now why is it all of a sudden she was a roommate there? There's obvious pictures of them hanging out at the house, having a good time. And it appears to me like she actually did live there. I mean, just based on all that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but am I misconstruing things? So then it leads me to my next thought. Wait a minute. Well, one of two things are happening here. Either we've all been confused about everything to this point, or there is a major red flag as it relates to this roommate. And then I think, why would they want to bury this relationship and not acknowledge it? And the only thing that I can come to try to pull back the veil and figure out what in the heck is going on here is looking at the relationships that young lady has, and maybe erasing her role in all of this is really just a way to erase the connection between the victims in the house and another individual, because I believe it is through the young lady named Ashlin's association that we get to Emma.
There was another roommate that was living in that house. The media reported it. An individual by the name of Ashlin Couch, who used to live in that Moscow, Idaho home, I guess left before the murders happened. Possibly she was also still on the lease. Ashlin Couch, we've heard her name. Well, Emma Bailey's actually Instagram friends with Ashlin Couch.
And then there was the fact that Dateline chose to show this clip from the body cam there at the King Road residence. I thought was kind of interesting.
Hey ladies, how's it going?
Like this party, where none of the actual residents was even present.
Hey ladies, how's it going?
Like this party, where none of the actual residents was even present.
Now, I never thought that girl was actually Emma in that video, because when you do a side-by-side comparison, they just look different. But when you listen to the audio really close before they walk over there, I may be wrong. It may very well be Emma.
Now let's go make contact. How goes it?
Oh, hey, how are you?
Who lives here?
We're not actually sure. Do you know?
You don't know who lives here?
No.
So when I take the new leaks from Dateline and that information, and then I correlate it with other information that we're now getting, and then try to backtrack with old information that we've all been told, and nothing lines up, yet when you really start to think about it, it may not line up purposefully. So that has got me really diving in on some other aspects related to what we're talking about now with certain individuals, and even more information that came out in that Dateline episode that is starting to help me fill in some of the blanks, at least beyond the red flags that are meant to keep us from filling in those blanks, I believe. So that's part one. That is the first red flag connection between what really is happening in this thing with the real people and how it could be possibly steering our attention away from other things. So we're going to continue to connect those dots, and I'm going to show you another serious red flag as we follow this investigative line in this thing in part two that I'll have out to you here in just a little bit. Now, this part one actually took me quite a bit longer than I thought it was going to take. So I said I was going to have 3 of these out, may only be 2. May have to wait till tomorrow for the third installment to this, but some real information coming through on these, I assure you. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Till next time, Pavarotti's out.